listening to Holder Tonight with Peter Anthony Holder on Montreal's News Talk leader, CJAD 800.
Peter Anthony Holder here with you on Montreal's News Talk leader, CJAD 800. And this is indeed Holder Tonight, heard Monday through Friday until 3. And still to come, we're going to talk to Ted Demopoulos a little later on. He's the author of What No One Ever Tells You About Blogging and Podcasting. We'll get to that a little later on. Also, we'll talk to Peter Friedman. He is in London, England. He has got the Calendar Girls Get Dressed for Breakthrough Breast Cancer. That's a calendar that they have out, and we'll explain what that's all about a little later on here on CJAD. But right now, you may have seen an article that was in Saturday's National Post. And it dealt with a group of people who are picky eaters, and there's a website for that. It's pickyeatingadults.com. That's www.pickyeatingadults.com. And on the line with us right now is Bob Kraus from pickyeatingadults.com. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Hey, Peter. I'm doing real well.
Thanks for being on the program with us.
Thank you.
Now, I have always been myself a picky eater. I never thought it was a disease or disability of any kind, but there are people out there like yourself who are really, really picky eaters, correct?
That's correct. I think a lot of it has to do with the degree that you're picky. Almost everybody has some kind of food that they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were talking earlier today, you didn't like vegetables?
Not a big fan.
Not a big fan.
No.
And but you can go out and still get something to eat at a restaurant, whereas a lot of the people that come to my website literally can't go to a restaurant or a friend's home for a dinner without feeling considerable embarrassment.
Okay, well, how does one, because like I said, I consider myself an extremely picky eater, but then, define extremes. What is it you eat? Because I think that's easier than asking what it is you don't eat, right?
Very plain, bland diet. Toast, potato chips, milk, peanuts, grilled cheese sandwich, peanut butter and crackers, a banana, maybe an apple, raw carrots, things like that. Things that are very plain and very simple. So when you get in, say, you go into a restaurant where they have these fancy dishes where you can't hardly know what's in it, that kind of thing doesn't look like food to me.
Okay, so everyone asks, how did this start for you? How, when you were growing up, what did your mom make, for instance?
Well, it started when I was probably about 2 or 3 years old. Although when I was born, I had a very nervous stomach, and for a while they couldn't even get anything to stay down. And when I was 3 or 4 years old, I had the whooping cough, and that's when things started going wrong for me in terms of eating. I don't know whether I answered your question or not. Sorry.
No, it's so. In your case, it started to a certain degree with a condition of some kind, basically.
Yeah, the whooping cough can be really, really hard on you, from what I've been able to find out, and it can make people throw up and just have bad reactions. Plus, I think I read somewhere where certain viruses, including that one, might even be able to trigger an OCD type event. And there does seem to be a lot of OCD type people in my group that has now ballooned over to over 400 people now.
So while growing up, did anyone try to, and when I say anyone, I'm talking about from your parents to other members of your family, social groups or background, whatever the situation was, did anybody try to change you?
I was taken to a couple doctors, and they always said, he looks fine, he'll grow out of it. And that's about as far as it went. Plus, I could get really hysterical when I was a kid about trying to eat certain things, because to me it just didn't look like food. I could get hysterical if a crumb fell into my milk.
Mm-hmm. Last week on this program, I just thought about this. Last week on this program, we had a guy on from a restaurant in L.A. I don't know if you've heard about these restaurants. They're starting to spring up in certain places. It started a trend in Europe where you dine completely in the dark. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't heard about that at all.
Okay, it's a restaurant where you order there's like a lobby area where you order your food, and that's also where you pay later on.
Yeah.
But you're taken into a room that is completely dark. And when I'm saying dark, I'm talking you can't see your hand in front of you. Pitch dark. The wait staff are all legally blind.
Yeah.
So they know their way around the room anyway. And that's how you would eat in this restaurant. I'm just wondering if you were taken to a restaurant like that. In other words, could you eat something you couldn't see?
Once it got to my mouth, I'd know I didn't like it. If it's your general restaurant-type food, what an interesting idea.
No, the reason why I say that is because a lot of times people who are picky eaters, and I confess I'm one of those,
Yeah.
it has to do with sight. And there are things I'm not interested in eating just by what they look like. But if I don't know what it looks like and I'm forced to taste it, I may discover I like it. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just wondering if you would be in that situation.
Probably not, because if I smelled it, I could probably tell I wasn't going to like it. And if I tasted it and the texture was off, it doesn't take very much to make me gag or even throw up.
So most of the foods that you don't like, which I basically is most of the foods actually,
Yeah.
but the foods that you don't like, have you at one time or another tasted them?
Some of them.
Some of them.
Some of them.
So give me an example of something that you've tasted that you don't like.
Steak.
You don't like steak?
That's right.
Okay,
The
so
only meat I will eat, and this is very common in the group of people that I have at the website, the only meat that they'll eat is bacon.
and okay, so what is it about bacon that makes it edible as opposed to other types of meat?
It's thin, it's crispy, and it's easy to chew, and you don't have to work at it like a big a piece of steak where you're constantly chewing.
Okay.
When I can even go, I'll sit and I'll eat a piece of cheese as long as it's just a little thin piece of cheese, but you take that same cheese that I like, put it into a block form where it's going to take more chewing, and it might just gag me.
Okay, so what about something, if you're talking thin, what about something like bologna or salami, with anything, or even ham, things that can be sliced really thin?
I have tried those, and it just don't like the taste.
Oh, so it's a matter of taste in those cases.
In that case, yeah.
Okay. Now this again, the website is www.pickyeatingadults.com. Are you the one who's running this website?
I started the website.
You started the website.
And I also said we have a Yahoo support group where people exchange messages on. And it's just incredible over the last 3 years. When I set this thing up, I didn't know whether I'd find anybody else like me or not. And I'm constantly getting people that join and they say, "Oh my God, I thought I was the only person in the world that had this problem."
Now, is it to different degrees that these people you've come across have this situation, or are they roughly in a similar boat as yourself?
So some of them, if I could eat like some of the people that have joined, I would think I was cured. And,
Okay.
And then there's some that are worse off that might only eat 5 or 6 things, literally. And
So there are those that eat less than you do.
correct. But
Wow.
I'm probably on the extreme end, but I'm not the extremist.
Okay.
And we also have a number of parents or loved ones of a picky eater coming to the website trying to figure out what it is they're dealing with, because they can't get any help from the medical professionals, because they just don't get. I mean, picky eating. There's lots of picky eating, but we're beyond that, and it's. I'm always getting parents of 4, 6, 8-year-old kids that are just at their wits' end, and when they describe the kid, it's always the same story. Kid was okay when they were born, about 2 years old. Kids started cutting down on the number of things they would eat to the point where they're only eating 4 or 5 things. Or they'll eat something, but it has to be a special kind, a store brand type of macaroni and cheese or something. They're very, very finicky and picky about the things they do eat.
Well, again, like I say, I'm a person who's finicky and picky, but not like you. I gotta admit that. But I am definitely a finicky, picky eater.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Now, I would consider myself basically a meat and potatoes. I can eat, anything that comes under the realm of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't veer off far from that. But like you say, you don't eat steak.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't live without my steak. I gotta tell you that. We are talking here on Montreal's News Talk leader, CJAD 800, with Bob Krause, who is with, the website is pickyeatingadults.com. You can check it out. That's pickyeatingadults.com. We're gonna take a quick break. This is Montreal's News Talk leader, CJAD 800.
You're listening to Holder Tonight with Peter Anthony Holder on Montreal's News Talk leader, CJAD 800.
And we are talking with Bob Krause, who is with pickyeatingadults.com here on CJD. And looking right at your website, the front page, you talk about it as being, the word there, disorder.
Correct.
Is there, has there been some sort of determination, clinical or otherwise, that classifies this as a disorder?
That's a good question, and that's one of the problems. Nobody that I know of has done a whole lot of research into it, except there was an anthropologist named Jane Cower. It was Cower with a K, and she researched and did interviews with about 400 people that are affected with this disorder. But as far as any clinical work being done to find out whether it's genetic or what's causing it, viruses, nobody's ever done any of that kind of work. As far as the members go in this group, we have seen what appears to be a genetic link in some families.
And what would that link be?
Well,
you mean the fact that picky eaters begat picky eaters, or?
Correct. And you might say it's environmental because someone gets married, has a couple children, and the children turn out just as picky as the parent. You might say that's environmental, but then we have a number of cases where there's 2 or 3 children involved, and 1 or 2 of them may be like the parent as far as eating, and the other one eats just fine. And I think we have a lady named Joyce that just pours her heart out on the website about her son and how it's affected her.
Now, one of the things, when I tell people I'm a picky eater and I'm only meat and potatoes, I don't eat vegetables, the question that's always come up is, how come you're still alive? So have you ever been asked that question?
Oh, sure. One of the concerns that a lot of people have is, ruining my health, or am I ruining my health because I eat so little? And the biggest majority of people have enough sense to know that they have to take a supplement, get some vitamins, try to figure out what nutrients they might be deficient in, and try to supplement that some way. And that's, of course, if you're not like some of the people that can't even take a pill. But I've always taken good vitamins and tried to keep an eye on that, and my health's relatively pretty good.
Have you done any look into the history of picky eaters? The reason why I bring that up is, you talk about you can get multivitamins and all kinds of supplements, but I would assume you go back a couple of generations, people really couldn't afford to be picky eaters.
We just had a gentleman join the support group that's 80 years old not too long ago, and I'm almost 60. And there's a number of other people that are around my age as well as young people. So it's had to have been around a while. It had to be around a while, but
I'll give you an example. That 80-year-old,
yeah.
Could his parents have afforded to be picky eaters? We're going back to the times when you go back a couple of generations when stuff wasn't pasteurized or homogenized, for instance, as far as milk is concerned, and we didn't have refrigerators, and people were eating more organically. Could you afford to be a picky eater in a time like that?
Well, I would think you could, because the picky eating could be involved in just eating simple things like toast or bread, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, grilled cheese sandwiches. Doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money. Now, as far as the supplements go, yeah, you're right. A while back, there wasn't near as much of that stuff that they could have got their hands on.
So